Good Friday morning. I'm meteorologist Jeff Gerber. Next 10 minutes or so, we'll be taking a look at the weather across southeast Texas. Looks pretty quiet through the weekend. Next week, got our fingers crossed for maybe some rain to move into the area. That's going to be, say, middle to late part of the week. So we're looking for that. Until then, like I said, pretty quiet conditions out there as we'll see well above normal temperatures. And we'll also look at some good Friday night football as well as some weekend plans. If you have those, I don't think you have to worry about any activities having to bring those on or bring those indoors. Our rest of the day forecast shows temperatures in the lower 80s for this afternoon. 6 o'clock this evening will be in the upper 70s, but start to fall back into those lower 70s once we get around 7, 8 because of the sun going down, of course. And so we're looking at pretty nice evening out there. If you have a Friday night football game you're going to, no matter where you are across the whole region, things are going to be looking very nice. We'll be in the 70s and 60s, so a great night for Friday night football, or maybe just heading out to a dinner or a movie or something like that. Maybe just hanging out in the backyard or something. Looks like a good evening for that. As we take a look at our allergy report, about the same as we were yesterday. A lot of low readings, and weed is on medium, but everything else is on low. So a little bit good news there as far as the allergy report is concerned. All right, let's take a look outside. We have partly cloudy skies through most of the area. We'll take you up to Jasper, looking at the Jasper County Courthouse here on this Friday morning, and we see just partly cloudy skies. This camera brought to you by Provalis, part of the Roofy 911 Live Skycam network, and looking pretty good there in Jasper. We kind of see that same conditions though across the entire area, just some partly cloudy skies. No clouds really developing enough to bring us any rainfall. We have moisture in the lower levels, so we see these partly cloudy skies, but we really don't have moisture in the middle to upper parts of the atmosphere, which will really give us a decent chance for some rain. So you'll see clouds, but unfortunately you won't see a whole lot in the way of rainfall. Here's a look down towards Port Arthur as we look at this camera right along Lakeshore Drive there. You can see the intercoastal there with partly cloudy skies. This camera brought to you by Market Basket, and looking pretty. I like this shot because you always can see the intercoastal, and every once in a while, you have to wait for it though, every once in a while you can see a big ship coming by. By the way, you can go to our 12 News Now website, and you can pull up any of these sky cams and put them full screen and just kind of sit there and watch them for a little while. Like I said, this one's a nice one to catch some of those big ships as they go by every once in a while, or just some barge traffic there on the intercoastal. Elsewhere across southeast Texas, let's go over to Horseman's Western Store in Orange, and partly cloudy skies there as we check traffic on I-10. Looks like it's going along smoothly through Orange. Currently showing 79, not quite to 80 over there. Humidity 67%, so it is slowly coming up. Winds are out of the northwest at about 4 to 5 miles per hour at our location there at the Horseman's Western Store, which you can almost see the sign for the Horseman's Western Store. If you look at the extreme left side of your screen, right where it says Orange, you look just to the left of that little sliver there of a sign, that's the Horseman's Western Store. So it is literally right there on I-10. You just take that feeder road if you're trying to get some good Western gear, and you can get over towards the Horseman's Western Store and check that out. All right, let's take you downtown Beaumont. Now we're not showing the downtown view, but we're showing the Port of Beaumont view here with the partly cloudy skies from Packer the Prey. Once again, we're in the upper 70s on our Roofy 911 Live Skycam network. Humidity at about 56%, so a little bit drier it shows, at least there at the port, which is a little odd because you think you're closer to the water, you'd be a little bit higher, but 56%. Winds out of the southeast at about 5 miles per hour. Official temperatures across the area, upper 70s for the most part. Jasper, Kirbyville, Orange, all at 77. Then 79 in Woodville, Port Arthur, and Silsbee. And then Beaumont, we're currently showing a temperature of about 78. Same deal as you head over towards Houston, 79 there. Conroe, Huntsville at about 77. And also same type of temperatures heading into southwest Louisiana to Quincy, 79, Lake Charles at 78. So temperatures pretty uniform, within 1 or 2 degrees of each other across the region to start off on this Friday morning. And we see a few clouds. If you look real close, you can see some of these clouds across parts of East Texas, West Texas. Drier air out there, so they're not even seeing some low-level clouds. They're catching plenty of sunshine out in West Texas, out towards El Paso. Looks like mostly sunny skies also up towards the Panhandle, up towards Amarillo. Looking pretty good. So not much going on, just a very quiet weather pattern through the weekend, and like I said, as we get into next week, we'll start to see that change a little bit. Let's take a look at what's going on around the rest of the lower 48, and big ridge of high pressure overhead, so you can see the storm systems coming out of the desert southwest, going up through the northern tier of the country, and then coming back down through parts of the eastern sections of the country, while the southern and middle part of the country is very quiet. Definitely seeing some wet weather coming into Southern California. Something they always want to see is a little bit of rain here and there. Keep some of those reservoirs filled, and see the pink here indicating some winter weather over the Sierra Nevada mountains over through parts of central and southern California. So good news for the ski resorts there. They're getting some pretty good powder, it looks like. Also up towards parts of Washington State, they have a storm system starting to work in there as well with a little bit of rain. I imagine they're getting some snowfall up there as well, and into Montana, getting some active precipitation as that storm track, like I said, heading across the northern tier of the U.S. and then coming back down through parts of the Great Lakes into New England, where not too much on radar, but they'll be getting probably a little bit of lake effect snow coming off Lake Erie, Ontario there, and back into parts of the northeastern U.S. All right, let's look at our futurecast. Futurecast showing temperatures coming up into the lower 80s for this afternoon. Mostly sunny skies to partly cloudy. We'll drop off into the lower 70s by 7 o'clock, and then we'll head into those upper 60s as we head towards about 10 o'clock. So good evening out there. And then overnight, we'll see temperatures, I think, a little bit cooler than we're showing here. I'm expecting temperatures to be near 60 south of I-10, and then middle to upper 50s as you head up towards the lakes area. Once again, we could see a little bit of patchy fog heading into Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, we'll go with mostly sunny skies to partly cloudy by late in the day, and we're looking at temperatures right there into the lower 80s. By 5 o'clock or so, we fall back into the 70s as we head towards Saturday. Saturday and Sunday both look almost like carbon copies. They look like good days with temperatures there into the lower 80s. Coastal marine forecast for today: a southwesterly wind at 10 knots, seas around 2 feet. Next high tide is tomorrow. We only had one today. That was right before the lunch hour, or will be right before the lunch hour, coming up here at 11:55. Our sunset at 5:20 for this evening. Our sunrise at 6:40. Those days just continue to get a little bit shorter. Have a light chop on the inland lakes and bays. Right now at Texas Point, conditions bring us east to southeasterly wind at 8 miles an hour, and water temperature out there into the Gulf right off the coast is into the lower 70s. So our forecast for today, generally just partly cloudy, south winds at 5 to 10, and we're going to see those lower 80s. We were right in the lower 80s yesterday, so about what we saw yesterday, and like I said, we'll see the same type of conditions Saturday and Sunday as well. So if you like today, if you liked yesterday, you're going to like the next 2 or 3 days at least. And then as we head towards tonight, like I said, I'm expecting a little bit lower than lower 60s up towards the lakes. We're talking middle to upper 50s possibly towards the lakes area. Inland southeast Texas, a lot of upper 50s for tomorrow morning. And then we're looking at temperatures right around the lower 60s, say south of I-10 for tomorrow morning, especially down towards places like Sabine Pass, LaBelle. We'll see temperatures around 62, 63. Now, there is a little bit of patchy ground fog expected tomorrow morning, kind of like what we saw out there this morning. Nothing widespread at all, but there'll be little pockets of maybe some fog here and there, usually near some waterways and things like that, kind of like what we saw this morning. So if you live in one of those areas where you typically get a little bit of fog, you might see that tomorrow morning in some of those isolated areas. 7-day forecast, like I said, pretty quiet through Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Temperatures don't change a whole lot, from 81 to about 83, and morning lows generally stay towards 60 degrees. We'll start to see those numbers come up a little bit Monday into Tuesday. You can see 64 on Monday, 68 on Tuesday, as we see a high about 84. That's out ahead of a storm system that we're expecting in here. Looks like towards Thursday. We might catch a few showers out ahead of it on Wednesday, and then on Thursday. Right now we're going to go 40% because that's 7 days out. So once we get a little bit closer to that day, hopefully that number will change to a little bit higher number so we can get some rain in here. We'll have to wait and see. As far as severe weather right now, it looks like most of that energy will be to our north, but we'll wait and see what happens as we get a little bit closer towards the end of next week. But right now, pretty quiet weekend like we all want, and then next week we've got our fingers crossed for maybe a little bit of wet weather. I want to put a number up at the bottom of your screen. That number is 409-749-9302. If you have any weather questions, maybe you have outdoor plans for next week, late or something like that, you want to know, well, what's exactly going to be going on with the weather, can you give us your